Imagine leasing out your life and getting more back than you bargained for.
That's quite a hook.
It is, isn't it? We're diving headfirst into that unsettling idea today, using a narrative called Borrowed Lives as our launch pad.
Right. And it focuses on this character, Sam Carter.
Exactly. Sam Carter. He's involved in what they call proxy work, or maybe body rental.
So he puts his own consciousness on hold, essentially.
Yeah, hits pause while someone else, takes the wheel of his body for a while.
It's framed as a transaction, right?
Yeah.
A way to maybe monetize your own experience in this future setting.
Pretty much. Living through something becomes a commodity you can sell.
So Sam agrees to this, but the return on investment isn't quite what he expects.
Not even close. So Sam comes out of one of these rentals. He's back in the Reconnect facility.
Right.
And right away, there's this immediate nagging feeling. Something's just off kilter.
Like a bad dream lingering.
Kind of, but more concrete. He catches his reflection, and just for a split second, the face looking back, it isn't his.
Whoa. That's the first sign then.
Yeah, the first tremor. And believe me, it becomes a much bigger earthquake.
So that initial unease, it doesn't just fade.
No, it quickly morphs into something way more disturbing. Sam starts experiencing memories.
Memories, not his own.
Definitely not his own. And they're not hazy, like you said about dreams. They're vivid, jarring recollections.
Like what kind of memories?
Well, the most troubling one involves a really brutal, bloody scene.
Okay.
And this visceral feeling, like the physical sensation of holding a knife.
Jeez, that's intense.
Intense is putting it mildly. And that's really where our deep dive kicks off today.
Right.
Our mission isn't just to tell Sam's story, but to really try and understand the implications of this cross-contamination, you could call it, of memories.
What happens when those personal boundaries just crumble?
Exactly. We're using Borrowed Lives as our source text to unpack this whole unsettling idea. So Sam's dealing with these violent memories popping into his head. What does he do first? How does he try to figure this out?
Well, initially, he looks for a logical reason, right? He goes back to the source.
The Reconnect facility.
Yeah, where the rental happened. He talks to a technician, tries to explain these disturbing memories that are just flooding his mind.
And how does that go down? I mean, do they take him seriously?
Not really, no. It doesn't sound like they hit the panic button at all. The technician gives him a pretty standard explanation, actually. Something about blurred neural boundaries.
Blurred neural boundaries. Sounds like jargon to me.
It does. They suggest that maybe if Sam's renter had particularly intense experiences, his brain might just need, time to sort out these leftover impressions.
So walk it off, basically.
Pretty much. They do mention maybe doing a cognitive scan, but the whole vibe is very, business as usual. They're really downplaying Sam's genuine fear.
But for Sam, these aren't just, fleeting thoughts. The story makes it clear they're persistent, they feel real.
Oh, absolutely. Can you maybe paint a picture of what he's actually going through?
Yeah, so the memories, they just get stronger, more intense, more detailed, more intrusive.
Okay.
He gets these really stark flashes, like a terrified woman's face.
Oh, man.
The feeling of being in a really cramped, cheap hotel room, a sudden glint of something silver.
The knife.
We figure out later it's the knife, yeah. And then this horrible sound, a scream that just cuts off.
And this isn't just like watching a movie in his head.
No, that's the thing. Sam has actual physical reactions. He's waking up drenched in cold sweat.
Oh.
He gets these phantom sensations, which just blurs the line even more between what he lived and what he somehow absorbed.
It's like his body has a memory, a physical memory that it shouldn't have.
Exactly. So when the official channels, the technicians, offer no real answers, Sam has to take matters into his own hands.
He starts investigating himself.
He does, and his search, it leads him somewhere specific. Tell us about that.
Right, so he's driven by something he can't quite pin down. It's described as almost this, magnetic pull.
Not conscious logic, then.
Not at first, no. It's more like these absorbed memories are acting like some kind of internal compass. And he finds himself drawn, inexplicably, to this rundown motel, specifically room 214.
Okay, room 214. And this is where things take a really dark turn, isn't it? What does he find?
Yeah, this is pivotal. He finds the room unlocked. It looks empty at first glance, but there are clear signs something violent happened there.
Like what?
A dark stain on the carpet, clearly blood, and remnants of police tape, hanging off a broken piece of furniture.
Okay, so definitely signs of trouble.
Definitely. And this discovery, it pushes Sam to start digging into local crime reports.
Makes sense.
And he finds it. News of a recent murder at a place called the Skylark Motel.
The same motel.
We assumed it's the same one, yeah. And the victim's photo. It's a chilling match for the woman he keeps seeing in those flashes, those memories.
Wow. So this isn't just in his head. There's a real-world event, a murder, connected to these borrowed memories.
Exactly. It's a huge moment. It confirms his worst fears, really.
So what happens when Sam goes back, pushes for more concrete answers about this neural cross-contamination? He must demand something.
Oh, he does. Understandably, he demands an emergency neural scan. He needs answers.
And this time, they can't just brush him off.
No, this time the diagnosis is way more serious than that initial dismissal. The neurotech confirms it. Enneagrams carrying cross-contamination.
An enneagram, what's that exactly in this context?
So an enneagram basically is like a memory trace within the brain's network, a physical trace.
Okay.
And the scan shows that the renter's memory traces, their engrams, have literally become tangled up with Sam's own.
Tangle.
Yeah, intertwined. They even detect overlapping neural signatures.
Neural signatures, like brain fingerprints.
Kinda, yeah. Think of them as unique energy patterns linked to specific memories or even aspects of consciousness. The scan shows Sam's patterns are now overlapping with the renter's, meaning there's been a deep bleed through. The renter's mental activity, their experiences, have literally seeped into Sam's brain structure.
That is terrifying. Someone else's mental residue leaving a permanent mark on your own mind.
Absolutely terrifying.
So what about identifying this renter? I mean, if they might have committed murder using Sam's body, surely there's a way to find them.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But in this world, the legal setup around body rental creates a massive roadblock.
How so?
These anonymization protocols, they're designed to protect the renter's privacy, apparently.
Even in a case like this, potential murder.
It seems so. The story suggests these protocols prevent the neurotech or anyone from legally accessing the renter's identifying information.
So Sam is stuck.
Completely stuck.
Yeah.
In this horrifying limbo. He's carrying these violent memories, proof of a crime maybe, but he has no legal way to connect them to a person or give the police anything solid.
That's brutal. So these memory fragments he's been getting, they eventually coalesce.
They do. The fragmented flashes start to come together, giving Sam this complete and utterly devastating picture of what actually happened in that motel room.
Can you walk us through that? How does that full memory unfold?
Right, so the narrative shifts. It goes from those disjointed flashes, the face, the knife, to a complete visceral reliving of the murder.
Reliving.
Yes, experienced entirely from the renter's perspective, but happening inside Sam's body.
Oh, wow.
We witness the argument with the woman, the actual physical act of shoving her.
He feels it all.
He feels it all. The deliberate choice to pull the knife, the brutal act itself. The story includes the physical sensations of it happening.
Oh my God.
And even the emotions afterwards. This rush of conflicting feelings like triumph, horribly, mixed with regret, all felt by the renter. But now they're imprinted onto Sam.
It's a complete hijacking, sensory, emotional, everything.
Total hijacking. He's not just remembering, he's reliving someone else's absolute worst moment from the inside.
And just when you think it can't possibly get any more disturbing, there's direct contact, right?
Yes. Right after this full traumatic memory surfaces, Sam gets a call. A blocked number, the voice on the other end. It's unfamiliar, but at the same time, it carries this disturbing flicker of recognition.
The winter.
It confirms the horrifying truth. The voice says, "You weren't supposed to remember."
Chilling. So the renter knows the memory's transferred.
Acknowledges it directly. Identifies himself as the renter.
And the message itself sounds deeply ominous. What else does he say? Does he threaten Sam?
The words are incredibly chilling, yeah. And they leave no room for doubt, he says. You can't undo it, but you can finish it.
Finish it. Finish what? The murder.
The implication is terrifyingly strong. That the renter believes Sam, now carrying these memories, maybe even influenced by these residual neural traces, that Sam now has some role to play in the aftermath. Maybe covering tracks, maybe something else.
Oh, that's twisted.
The call ends abruptly then, just leaving Sam in this even deeper state of fear and total uncertainty.
The story finishes with this really potent image, doesn't it? Sam looking at himself in the mirror.
Yeah, it's such a powerful visual for what he's going through.
Can you describe that final scene, that transformation?
Well, the last scene basically shows Sam staring at his own reflection. But he can't clearly separate his own features anymore from that fleeting image of the stranger he saw right at the beginning.
The boundary is gone.
Completely blurred. And the narrative really emphasizes this metaphorical idea,
Uh-huh.
the presence of a knife just waiting inside him.
Wow.
It's this stark symbol of how the renter's violence, the memory of the act, maybe even the impulse itself, has become this ingrained, menacing part of Sam's own mind, his psyche.
His own identity is compromised.
Frighteningly compromised, blurred with the person who just, rented his body for a while.
Okay, let's try and distill this. What are the core takeaways from Sam Carter's really terrifying journey in Borrowed Lives?
Well, it shines a harsh light on this whole idea of shared experience through body rental, doesn't it?
It really does.
I mean, firstly, the story just powerfully shows the unexpected, maybe catastrophic consequences of this neural cross-contamination.
It starts as a transaction.
Right. What's meant to be just a clean swap of physical presence, it ends up being this profound, unwanted sharing of memories, maybe even bits of consciousness.
And the second point.
Secondly, it really underscores how fragile, how fluid our sense of personal identity might be when technology allows this kind of intimate sharing.
Yeah.
Sam's left completely grappling with who he even is anymore. His own memories are not tangled up with a stranger's violence, their guilt, maybe their impulses,
The lines just get erased.
the lines of individual experience, accountability. They become dangerously indistinct. It's messy.
This really forces you, the listener, to consider the sort of Pandora's box that could be opened by technologies allowing this level of deep connection.
Absolutely.
What fundamental questions does this story raise for you about how we understand ourselves, our memories?
Well, it really pushes us to examine the deep implications, doesn't it? If memories, maybe even pieces of consciousness, can be transferred like this, what does that do to our basic understanding of self?
Where do you draw the line?
Exactly. Where does one person end and another begin? And what about responsibility? The individuals involved, the companies facilitating it? Who's accountable when things go wrong?
Yeah, the ethics are staggering.
And maybe most crucial is thinking about the long-term psychological effects, the societal impact of blurring these really personal fundamental boundaries.
So our deep dive into Sam Carter's experience in Borrowed Lives, it really leaves us with a chilling thought, I think. When you borrow a life, what pieces of it might you be forced to keep?
That's a heavy question.
It certainly makes you ponder the deeper implications of neurotechnology, where it might be heading, and the very definition of what makes us, well, us.
Food for thought, definitely.
Thanks for navigating this pretty unsettling territory with me today.
Anytime.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, if disturbing.